Recording in progress.
Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Real_G Warner, across all social media platforms. If you're watching us on Betting the Pitch Podcast and on Spotify, leave a 5-star review. Choose the search rankings. If you are on YouTube at the Real_G Warner, hit subscribe. If you're on Instagram at the Real_G Warner, hit follow. And it's going to be a long episode. It's already 1:05 local time. National championship tonight. Congratulations to Signetti and such. We're going to go through, give out a best bet. We're 15, 11, and 258% so far on matches I've graded. Working our way through. Clearly, my voice is gone, which is especially bad. But I'm going to try to make it through this episode, trying to give you some permutations because we are to the second to last, the penultimate Champions League match day. I'm going to go through, give a best bet end of show, picking my favorite bet from Tuesday, my favorite bet from Wednesday. I'm going to try my best to get an idea of kind of who's got what to play for as I bring up the standings as we speak. If you're not a member of my Patreon, check it out, patreon.com/Real_G Warner. Best spot for all my plays across all sports. I had a good winner on George Mason today and a much bigger soccer card than I was initially expecting. But that's, I guess, how things go. So we'll start with in the Champions League. We have an early matchup with Kairat Almaty hosting Club Brugge. Let's find the standings on Champions League. And top 8 get a bye. Top 24 make it to the next stage. 25 through 36 are eliminated. Speaking of eliminated, Kairat at 36 out of 36 positions. That's not great. They're on 1 point. If they get 2 wins, they could get to 7. That is 24th position. Seems very unlikely. So I would expect that they're probably done. Kairat 1.25 goal underdogs. It's amazing that even qualified for this competition, but I guess we got to let everybody in. Total in this one is 3, and it's juiced the same both ways. Bruges on the other side, they are sitting in 31st place on 4 points. 3 points would get them up to 24th, but all those teams around them are probably going to score or get some points themselves. So Bruges probably need some wins here. Would expect them to be very aggressive. They've been, to me, a great bet for years in this competition. Maybe not so much this season, but I don't do road favorites, and I don't think that Bruges should have too much trouble, but maybe going on the road as more than a goal favorite in Champions League is something you should look the other way from. So I guess I'm interested in Kairat as bigger than a single goal underdog at home and whatever faraway land they play in. But I guess I should know that. I'm going to say Azerbaijan. No, that's where Karabakh is. So they are in Kazakhstan. Even better. It's going to be cold. Good luck to Bruges. That is a tough matchup when you need a win. Move next to Bodo Glimt hosting Manchester City. Currently, Bodo Glimt a 1.5 goal underdog at home. Total in this one, and it's juiced very heavily on the Bodo Glimt side. Total in this one is 3.75, and it is juiced more by 4 cents to the under than to the over. Bodo Glimt, they are sitting in 32nd on 3 points. They basically need wins just as badly as Bruges. Manchester City has been going better. They're in 4th on 13 points. And I just saw a portion of the show that we'll get to and talk about later, but we're not there yet. With all that said, Manchester City are gigantic favorites, and Bodo Glimt are not a team that want to defend. They want to score goals. Longtime Patreon subscriber, patreon.com/Real_G Warner, Joe Dollar. If you're listening, I am very interested in Manchester City and Bodo Glimt over 3.75 goals, which is maniacal for me to say out loud. But here we are. I think we see goals in that matchup, so that's my biggest interest in that one. In, I guess, the 11:45 usual window, Kairat Almaty and Kazakhstan are starting at 9:30 Central, so very early matchup there, probably because it's dark by the time it's probably dark then. Move next to FC Copenhagen hosting Napoli. Currently, Copenhagen a 0.5 goal underdog, and I think I've lost my integrity on my spreadsheet. I have no idea where this one was supposed to be starting because I used Google this time instead of Bet Online, unfortunately. Okay, so we're so FC Copenhagen, a 0.5 goal underdog at home with all the juice to Napoli. Total's 2.25, and it's juiced more to the over, as I think it should be, because I'm pretty far off from this number. Let's go back to see where we're at. So Napoli, they're sitting in 23rd position, tied for the lowest amount of points that would advance right now, tied with Karabag and Copenhagen. So this is a pretty big matchup where Copenhagen, if they get a point here, that certainly would help them. They'll stay on, tied with Napoli. And there's a pack of 3 teams with 6 points, and then a bunch with a couple with 5, 2 with 4, and then we start looking on the outer ranks, probably dead, which Villarreal being in that list is pretty surprising. But Copenhagen, I've been pretty impressed with. I thought they deserved a win. I want to say it was against Borussia Dortmund earlier this season. Might have been another German team like Leverkusen, probably with Leverkusen, but thought they've been competitive. They got big names that we've known from other leagues across all of Europe. I mean, Thomas Delaney's been everywhere. Plenty. I don't really trust them to prevent goals, though. They want to score, and that's the scary thing for me against Napoli, because you don't want Napoli to counterattack. Napoli are likely to go into a shell when they take a lead. So I don't know that there's a lot of like, okay, I want a team that's going to try to not score, a team that's going to try to prevent goals if I'm going to play unders. I don't think we have one in the underdog here. And so I think probably Copenhagen, half of goal underdog's biggest interest for me in this one. For where the points are, I mean, they're not desperate to win, because if they get a draw here, they're still probably, unless they get jumped by, I guess, one team, which is not asking a lot, but that would, I mean, it would take one of Benfica Pafos or Union Saint-Gilloise to all win, and 2 of them are gigantic underdogs, I suspect, coming up later in the show. So Copenhagen certainly want to go for a win. I think a draw is probably okay. So maybe I'm interested in Copenhagen getting half of a goal, at least a little bit on that one. Next, we'll move to Real Madrid hosting Monaco. And let's see if I can find where. Okay. And we have Real Madrid, a 1 3/4 goal favorite, which is gigantic considering how much speculation there was that Xabi Alonso was getting sacked. Monaco have already sacked their manager, though, and that means something. This number is way bigger than I made it. Total is higher also, too. So not a lot of respect or expectations for Monaco going on the road. Yes, they brought a new manager, far more aggressive than Adi Hütter, formerly of the German Bundesliga. But this is a gigantic price. Monaco have been really good to the Patreon subscribers, patreon.com/Warner, and myself so far this season. So I'm tempted to look at them a little bit deeper. Where does everybody sit? So Monaco on 19 points, excuse me, or 19th place on 9 points. So they are 3 points, a whole win from 25th position. That means something. Benfica on only -2 goal differential, Monaco on -1. So if they lost, Benfica wins, then they certainly could get jumped, but it would take a lot more of other teams, I think. Real Madrid in 7th position on 12 points. They're in a much better place, but they, of course, want the bye. That's important. I think they'll be playing for that. With that all said, the 1 3/4 is a gigantic price. I think a 2 would be almost impossible for me to skip because it's far above the number I made. Total, I don't really want to play unders because I don't think Real Madrid is going to ever play a low-scoring game, it seems to me, unless their opponent's just going to sit in and try to say, we dare you to break us down, and we're fine with losing 2-0. Monaco have a little bit more belief or pride, but it's a big price. So I'm interested in Monaco. We'll move next to Tottenham hosting Borussia Dortmund. And it took me a while to do this number. I was oscillating. I think someone asked me to do that. Joe asked me the definition way back when. Thank you for saying that. Going back and forth rather than using a big word that maybe I don't know. But Tottenham, they're an underdog at home. I had that. I initially had it bigger, but I did drop it down to about pick 'em. So I feel good about that. That's where the number is. All the juice on Dortmund. Total is 2 3/4, and it is juiced more to the under. So Tottenham have been playing really conservatively at home so far this season. That's what happens when you bring up a former poor club, broke boy manager to a rich one. Though I do like Thomas Frank. It just hasn't really worked. From a Dortmund perspective, they've been really much better in Champions League than they've been in the German Bundesliga because they actually try to play a level-headed defensive, if they need to, type of matchup. Where in Germany, Dortmund were simply trying to win every game and were putting themselves under big, big danger and all this sort of stuff, which made, honestly, Dortmund underdogs and especially unders really valuable in Champions League for a while. let's check where they sit in the standings. So we'll start with Dortmund. They're in 10th position on 11 points. So they cannot be caught by anyone in the outside world. They certainly want to climb to 8th, which are only 1 point behind. So that's pretty good. And Tottenham are actually in the same 11 points. So a lot of safety here. Draw certainly can fit both. That would not pay anyone out, as that would push right now. So that makes me less interested. I do wonder, I mean, I guess the only really thing here for me is if Tottenham move to a quarter goal underdog, then I start to think about them more. I think 2 3/4, the under is my biggest interest in this one. I would love to get a 3, but I don't think we'll see that. Moving next to Sporting Lisboa, Sporting Clube de Portugal. They are hosting PSG in what should be, they're small underdog than I thought. 3/4 goal underdogs after PSG closed nearly a 2-goal favorite to Lille on Friday, which was big time saying something. Total in this one is 3, and it's just 2 cents more to over. I am not ever since Ruben Amorim left Sporting Lisboa for Manchester United and basically was bad at both clubs went to the toilet or were already in it. I don't really have much faith in Sporting. They're currently sitting 14th on 10 points, so they cannot be caught. They cannot fall out of the playoff positions right now, which is big for them. And of course, they want to climb to the top 8, but I think they're just happy advancing. PSG on their side, they're in 3rd place on 13 points and are probably disappointed, but welcome to Late Night with your own G. Warner as we're yawning, but it's 1:16. Give me a break. I think PSG to me have not been close to as good as they were last year. Maybe that was playing all the extra matches that Champions League champions end up making you do, or the Club World Cup in America, or whatever the heck was going on in the United States of America. Let me rephrase. I don't know that there's enough here for me to want to back Sporting, but it does get my ears perked up a little bit seeing them a small underdog than expected against the defending world champions or European champions. Maybe we'll be world soon. Moving next to Olympiacos. They are quarter goal favorites at home to Bayer Leverkusen. I am confused by that. Total in this one is 2 3/4 and is juiced more to the under, which does not reflect the way Leverkusen plays matches. Currently, Leverkusen are in 20th position on 9 points, 2 points from bottom position, 3 points from elimination. Yeah, elimination. Olympiacos, they're on 5 points and in 29th position. They need to win. A win could jump them into the knockout stage with 1 match day to go. This line is really confusing to me. Why is Olympiacos a favorite buyer? Leverkusen, yes, Leverkusen has had some troubles and they sold off all their players. Their manager left, all these sort of things. But I feel like they've stabilized pretty well after they got rid of Erik ten Hag after 2 match days. 2 Spieltags, as they call them. I'm going to have to do some investigating in this one. Leverkusen's lineup better be really weak or I'm going to probably be on them and hate myself for it. We'll move next to Villarreal hosting Ajax. So I've already mentioned on this show, it's amazing to me that Villarreal are essentially eliminated on 1 point, 5 losses and 1 draw in 6 matches in Champions League when they've been killing it in Spain's La Liga, which is still pretty competitive. But they get Ajax, who also are horrible, and some have more points than them with a single victory. They're on 3. Wow. But now I look at this matchup pricing, which is honestly even crazier, if that was even possible. I didn't think it was, but now I do. Ajax are a 1.5 goal underdog on the road at Stadio Ceramica. Total in this one, it's juiced very heavily to the under to the underdog. Total in this one's 3.5, and it's juiced very heavily to under. So Ajax have been terrible. They are nowhere near the program club, whatever we used to call them, what we used to believe in about them. Sheesh, this is incredible. But I'm so far off of my number. It might be the furthest I've been off besides a 2.5 goal underdog or something like that from a third world country that plays in this competition. And Ajax, I got to say, at home, when I backed them a couple match days ago, they literally were a home underdog and just said, break us down. We need points, but we don't care. We're going to defend this whole time. If they go to Villarreal and do that, Villarreal certainly can score goals, but they're not exactly like getting in boats and lighting villages on fire. Clearly, they have 1 point in this competition on 1 single victory. 1 single draw. prices are insane. I mean, Viral, I guess, is an outside chance of potentially moving through, but at some point they're going to be like, okay, this is not possible. I hate to do this, but I actually are very interested in goal and a half underdogs. Goal and a quarter if it falls, that's fine. And total under 3.5 also seems interesting if Ajax are going to play a very conservative style. Last but not least, and probably the best on our list of matches, and certainly one of the clubs I wanted to speak about, that's Inter Milan hosting Arsenal. Currently, Inter are pick'em with more juice almost all the way on Arsenal right now. Total this one's 2.25. Juice slightly more to under, even lower than the lowest total I can make it, basically. So Inter are great. They should be, I think they should have at least been undefeated so far in this competition. They got absolutely destroyed, screwed on ridiculous officiating that lost them their last 2 Champions League matches. I am slightly more in tune with them because I have them to win Serie A. I also have them in my pool in the Champions League, which is all about scoring as many, collecting as many points as possible. This is going to be a tough matchup, and it makes me think about Inter on the highest stage. I mean, getting through Barcelona last season was huge in Champions League, and then getting their faces ripped off by PSG. Started bad, ended bad. All middle was bad too. But this is a little bit different because Arsenal are literally just trying to score goals on set pieces every game. And I don't know where they get them, how they do it. Inter are one of the best and have a very deep defense as well, with a lot of height in it. I really think Inter are a great bet here, potentially on the side, but under 2.25 looks very interesting to me in this one as well. And I think that finishes our first day of Champions League of this week. And I don't think I'm shorting anybody, so gonna keep this one going, keep rocking it until I literally fall asleep on air, which has not happened yet, but maybe someday. For my best bet from Tuesday, I think it's as simple as that. Inter Arsenal. I'd like to get Inter as a quarter goal underdog. I think we might have that soon. I'll go Inter under 2.25 goals. That's my best bet in Tuesday's Champions League card. There will be an NFL podcast with Aiden Schwarzenegger coming out this week, getting you ready for Championship Sunday. A Need for Seeds college basketball podcast with Big East Ben as well. And then we'll be doing another Europa League. Plus, there will be plenty of podcasts coming out on pregame.com's podcast network. I don't think I'll get to that tonight because it's already so late, but tomorrow should be on there as normal. All right, now we got 2 matches on the Wednesday, 11:45 Central Time, 12:45 Eastern. And we'll start with Galatasaray hosting Atletico Madrid. So Galatasaray currently half a goal underdogs, which feels a little bit cheap to me. Total is 3 in this one, and it's juiced pretty heavily to over. Galatasaray's defense has been problematic, I think. And Victor Osimhen, that's been a long time at AFCON, maybe comes back after just a couple days, but I don't know. That seems far-fetched. Galatasaray currently in the 18th position on 9 points, so they're in good shape right now to keep going. A draw would certainly help them. Atletico Madrid are in 8th position, so the last of the automatic qualifiers to get a bye, essentially, on 12 points. So they're doing well, too. I think the big question is, can Atletico Madrid continue to perform away from home? Because they've had real trouble with that over the years. I feel like the price is lower because of that. Galatasaray only needed a result at home to cover the spread for you. I think I lean that way. I would like it under because Atletico Madrid are by nature a defensive team, but that's old Diego Simeone. It's not the same, and I think it's why they've struggled so much in Champions League, which used to be their baby. Move next to Karabag, hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. Currently, Karabag are a quarter goal underdog at home. Another number a little bit smaller than I made it. Total in this one is 3, just very heavily to over. And I think that's because Eintracht Frankfurt's defense has been defensive, or it's just been an offense so far this season, and it's been a really big problem. And they've gotten embarrassed a few times, which makes that total seem impossible for me to play, even though it's higher than I expected. Currently, Eintracht Frankfurt are in 30th position on 4 points. Karabag on 7 points in 22nd position ahead of them. If they get a draw, I mean, it's going to be very hard for Eintracht Frankfurt to catch them. If they get 2 draws the rest of the way, then Eintracht can't catch them. Maybe others can, but got to think that Karabag are very happy where they sit right now. I think total is, like I said, probably not something I want to do anything with because Eintracht, when they lose, it gets really bad. I don't expect Karabakh to score a lot, I'll say, but I do like the quarter goal underdog there, and that's probably my interest in that matchup. Move next to Chelsea and Paphos. As I find this number, Paphos, 2.25 goal underdogs on the road at Stamford Bridge. Total on this one is 3.5, and it's juiced more to the over. So Paphos have been really competitive. I don't expect them to be that way in Chelsea. In terms of where these teams sit, Paphos are in 26th on 6 points, only 1 point behind a potential playoff spot. Chelsea, on the other side, are 13th on 10 points, which is disappointing, but they're in pretty good shape and should get a win here. So probably move on to the next. Atalanta hosting Athletic Club. Currently, Athletic Club are a half of a goal underdog, which feels really cheap. They've been horrible this season and have not handled the return to Champions League well at all. Total this one's 2.5, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under, which is lower than I made it. But Atalanta, I haven't believed in their offense this season. They're currently in 5th position in Champions League, which is incredible for how bad they were and sacking a manager really quickly so far this season. They're on 13 points in good position. Though 12, 1 point behind them, is still part of. They need to get some points. I'll put it that way. Athletic Club, they need everything. They're on 5 points right now, so they're not dead yet, but it's not looking good. Likely need to go to Atalanta and get a win. I think the result will probably be fine and might even be accepted within that club because they need anything in the Athletic Club. Especially try to get Spain and their season going there a little bit stronger because it's not been good either. I think it would be under 2.5 is the biggest interest. I don't really trust Athletic Club as an underdog away from home. We'll see if Nico Williams plays back-to-back matches. That seems to be hard for him. Rather than spitting on a podcast, I'm just going to hope that I can survive the rest of this and do it afterwards. Moving next to Slavia Prague. They're hosting Barcelona, and pretty much two of the most opposite teams you could have. Slavia going to defend this whole time. Barcelona going to try to outscore whatever. But Slavia Prague won't likely contribute to scoring, so total at 3.5 seems interesting to look under. But who can go under with the Barcelona match, honestly? I do think Slavia Prague will defend, though. So I like that 1.5 as a spread, and it's probably going to get higher. And as it gets toward 2 and hits 2, I don't think I can resist. I don't think I can play that total up. Newcastle then hosting PSV Eindhoven. Or at least I should say. Okay, so Barcelona currently are 15th in Champions League on 10 points. And Slavia Prague, they are on 33 points and 33rd. So they're going to need some wins. But I think they're going to play a defensive brand because that's what they do. And they have, even knowing they needed to win or in home games, have still played that way. Next, we'll move to Newcastle hosting PSV Eindhoven. Currently, Newcastle are 1.25 goal favorites, which feels very, very generous. Though, honestly, the Dutch sides outside of Holland have been very different in this competition for a while. A little bit more juice in the home team. Total this one's 3.5, and it's juiced pretty heavily to under. PSV are going to try to score, so that's the big question. In terms of where these teams sit, PSV are in 21st on 8 points, 1 point ahead of last of the qualifiers, and 2 points ahead of the first team out, which is Benfica, who we'll get to the next matchup. Newcastle, though, they are in 12th on 10 points. So they're in much better shape. Newcastle at home are really hard to fade. So price is big enough, probably. If they lose, you can still win a bet on PSV Eindhoven, but we're looking for damage control here, and that might be hard to do on the road at St. James's Park. Move next to Juventus hosting Benfica. Currently, Juventus are a half of a goal favorite. Seems really tiny, but the special one is coming into town, and everyone loves to bet Jose Mourinho clubs, especially because they've changed. Benfica have gotten a lot better defensively under him. Kind of grinded their offense quiet too, but which kind of fits with an under 2.5 here, just a little bit more to under. I was hoping that Benfica would be a bigger underdog. But I really have been enjoying going against the Juventus team. Don't really think they've solved much with a million different managers they're paying at the same time, all that sort of stuff. But I think I'm interested in Benfica and under. I would like to get more from Benfica, though. And Benfica, they need a result. They're 1 point outside of the advancers. The win would be huge. Juventus on the other side, they're in 17th on 9 points. I would say they can't feel safe. It's not been a good season. They need a good result. So Juve will be certainly motivated, but I don't know how much that matters. Next, we'll move to Marseille hosting Liverpool. Currently, Marseille are almost there. Promise. They are a half of a goal underdog at home to Liverpool, who's played about the worst brand of football from that club we've seen. That interests me, I gotta say. In terms of where this total is, it is 3, which is very heavily to under right now, which is about what I made it. So home underdogs are my thing in this world, as everyone knows. Marseille, a half a goal underdog to Liverpool doesn't really compute to me. Marseille currently in 16th position on 9 points. I think they should be a team that goes through. Liverpool on in 9th position on 12 points. So they're in much better shape, but I frankly don't believe in Liverpool whatsoever. So I'm very interested in Marseille. I think that half of a goal is more interesting than the total under because they're a goal scoring team and had a tough trip to Angers in Ligue 1 this weekend, but I mean, we're big favorites there, and I'm a believer that they can keep the momentum going. I think been great in the competition and even deserved more points without a red card from Emerson in a ridiculous matchup against Sporting Club de Portugal. But that was a while ago. And we'll move to the last game on the list, and that precede our best bets coming out very soon. That's Union Saint-Gilloise visiting Bayern Munich. Currently, USG, a 2.5 goal underdog with almost all the juice on Bayern, so headed towards 3. Total is 4, and it's juiced very heavily to under. But yeah, it's a nice push above what I made it, but there's nothing for me there. Might as well give the positions here. So USG, Union Saint-Gilloise in 27th position on 6 points. Lost their manager to Monaco earlier this season, but they've done fairly well. Goal difference is ugly, -8. It could get worse here. Bayern on the other side are in second on 15 points with 1 single loss. I believe that was at PSG. Bayern have been awesome. I'm not really interested in fading them, so that's probably an easy one for me to get past. Now it's time for the ultimate best bet portion of the show. Thank you all for tuning in. From Wednesday, I'm going to go with Marseille, half a goal underdog at home to Liverpool. But it's time for this episode, this one, this big one that we're doing. Trying to think, I already plugged the other shows on this podcast network, Betting the Pitch, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify, at the @real_G Warner on YouTube and on Instagram. If you've got any ideas, feel free to throw them our way. Need for Seeds coming out for this weekend. We'll have an NFL podcast coming out, just trying to figure out the day with Angel Schnicker. And that might be it. So yeah, it's ultimate best bet time. So let's get into it. Make sure I have everything on the screen. Thanks to you that are here live with me. Appreciate that. It's super late at night. I'm about to go to sleep once I get this uploaded. But we are 15-11 and 258% so far year to date. I am still catching up on soccer. I'll put that way, but we'll be getting there soon. From Tuesday, my favorite bet is Inter Milan, Arsenal under 2.25 goals. And on Wednesday, I like Marseille, a half a goal underdog at home to Liverpool. And this is probably one of the tougher decisions on which one to choose because I think both of these are great opportunities for a potential best bet and probably both be on my card. But for the ultimate best bet and what you grade this episode on, I'm going to go with Inter Milan and Arsenal under 2.25 goals. I think we could see a goalless draw between two of the biggest, mightiest, most powerful European powerhouses that both can defend. Both can score, but I don't think we'll have a lot of chances on goal. And that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you next time, the same day, most likely.
Recording stopped.